Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about hormones and the effects that it has on your body. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave some comments down below so that way I know that you are enjoying my content. I do apologize for the last video. That was morbid, kind of really sad, but it was something that really needed to get out and really needed to be talked about. And so I apologize for if that was a little rough to watch. It was tough to film. I had a very hard time with it. Obviously, you can see in the video, but anyway. So moving on to the better videos now. This one is all about hormones and what it does to your body and the effects that it has. So when I went to my doctor and I was beginning the whole process, they said, you have 3 options for taking your estrogen. So one of them that was an injection, and I wasn't fond of needles, so I didn't go for that one. The next one was a patch, and the patch, I still wasn't sure, even though the patch is easy, but I was used to taking medications, so I said, okay, so what was the third one? Third one was a pill, and you put it under your tongue, and you let it sit there until it dissolves, and it goes into your bloodstream. So that was another way, and that was probably the easiest one for me that I chose that I wanted to do. So with the estrogen, I did start off with the pill. That was the easiest for me. And the pill looks like this. So it's a little like blue turquoise type pill. And you let that go underneath your tongue and let that dissolve into your bloodstream. After a while, I noticed that it was hard for me to keep up with because going to work and trying to figure out when to put it under, and I found that I don't know, I just had a hard time with it, and I was doing it for a few years. So eventually I said, well, I want a different solution. So I went back to my doctor, and she talked to me about doing the patch, because I said I can't handle the injections. So, also from what I've heard too is the injections can give you faster effects. Now, don't quote me on that. That's just what I've heard, that it can give you faster effects because it's like in your system faster. So she said, okay, well, we can try the patch. And I said, okay, let's do it. Now, the patch is you need to put it on your midsection. So somewhere on the belly, your side, your back, or you can put it on your butt. I chose to put it on my butt so that way it's kind of hidden. Nobody sees it. It's just out of sight, out of mind. Now that one with the patch, I do have to change. I do 2 patches twice a week. So I usually do it like Mondays and Fridays. I switch them out, and I just alternate which side I'm putting it on. So I'll put like 2 on this side, 2 on this side, like 2 on this side Monday, 2 on this side Friday. So the patch looks like this. It comes in. Now I've had a couple different ones. This one was one brand that was prescribed, so you might get something that looks a little bit different, but inside of here there's a little tiny patch with a double, kind of like a band-aid backing on it, and you just kind of peel it off and you just apply it on the back or wherever you want to put it. Now it does leave residue, like the sticky tape residue, which is super annoying, which is why I stopped. I did put it on my stomach at first, and I noticed that the sticky residue is hard to come off, and it stays there, so you have to kind of work at it to get it off, and I didn't like that it was so exposed, so I ended up putting it on the backside on my butt, and that way I can kind of just hide it, and it's not a big deal. So those are just some things that I've noticed with the patch. It's definitely a lot easier because then I don't have to worry about it. The only problem is you have to remember to change them twice a week. It's 2 patches twice a week for me, and that gives me the dose that I need. And your doctor will prescribe, it's your own dose to start off with. Like for the pills, she started me off with, I believe, 2 milligrams. And then from there, we went up to 6. But the 6 was almost too high for my system. My liver enzymes were getting too high. And now there might have been some other contributing factors into this. I don't know. But we had to cut back to 4, and everything was fine. And 4 was kind of like my sweet spot to just sit at. It's when... now, spironolactone, you don't have to be on that forever. That's the good news. If you decide you're going to have the gender reassignment surgery or the bottom surgery or whatever you want to call it, the spironolactone you don't have to take anymore because obviously you don't have testosterone to block anymore. So you don't need to take that. So there's one less medication that you actually have to take, which is fantastic. And even the estrogen, you could probably come down on a dose if you needed to. But your doctor and you can talk about that and figure it out. Then the next one that they offered was called spironolactone, which is a testosterone blocker. And that one, kind of like it says, it blocks your testosterone. And it helps so that way the estrogen does not have to combat against the testosterone. And it makes it have faster effects in your body without having to battle back and forth of which hormone is more dominant. And unfortunately, testosterone is way more dominant than estrogen is. So you have to get rid of it. You have to block it. Other people, you can take, you can have a surgery, which is an orchiectomy, and that is the removal of the testicles. And obviously that will help stop producing testosterone. So that's another way of doing it. After that, so now we're on to actually taking the estrogen and the medication. And once when you start, nothing is immediate, nothing is overnight. It definitely takes a week or so for the spironolactone to kind of kick in and start like really doing its job. At the same time, the estrogen is kind of starting to flow through your body, and as the testosterone levels drop, the estrogen has a better chance of really getting in and doing what it needs to do. Now, one of the things that spironolactone does is it's a diuretic pill. So it's kind of like a water pill. And it makes you have to go to the bathroom a lot. Like, a lot. I remember taking it, and I would take it during the day, in the morning, and then throughout the day and throughout the night, I would constantly have to go to the bathroom. It gets old really fast. So one thing that I found is I would take it at nighttime, so that way it didn't have the effects of having to go to the feeling of having to go to the bathroom right away. So I was able to actually sleep the night without having to get up, if that makes sense. Again, everyone's going to have a different effect with this. This is not the rule of thumb. This is not like, this is exactly what's going to happen to you. This is just what happened to me. So next was the feeling and effects of the estrogen. So first thing I started to notice was the tenderness in my breast, and specifically like my nipples. And I noticed that they were getting really, really sore, almost like a tingling feeling. And you could kind of feel like, I don't know, like almost like itchy, or like, I don't know, they just got really sensitive. It's kind of weird. And I started to notice that that my strength was like going away at the same time. And I could feel that things that I used to be able to do was not as easy. Now this was like, let me back it up a little bit. This is like probably 3 months of being on the actual hormones is when I started to really feel these changes. The breast growth, the lack of strength, the loss of energy was definitely after about 3 months of time. And again, everyone's going to have different effects. Everyone's going to experience a different timeline than I did. This was just how long it took my body to adjust to the new medication and to adjust to what's happening. So after I had started feeling all these things, the dysphoria, I mean, literally goes away. Like, it makes it so much easier to get up and go about and do your thing. And to know that you're about to begin and embark on like this amazing journey that like you've been waiting your whole life for. So after a while, dealing with all these new changes that were happening, it was kind of like a second puberty that I was going through. And it was very strange. It was very, very weird to start to feel these different things. Some myths about all of this is what the estrogen can do, and one of them is it changes your voice. It does not. Your voice, you have to work on. That is something I will do in a whole nother video. Mine is obviously not perfect. It's not where I want it to be, but it's the best I can do. So we'll get into that into a different video. So for now, but so it does not change your voice. That is something that you have to work on, something you have to do. Your bone structure. Your bone structure is set, especially if you're over the age of 25. If you're taking it in your teens, you have a much higher chance of the testosterone not taking effect yet and giving you like the broad shoulders or the bigger bone structure, the bigger bone mass. The testosterone will help. If you're taking that during your teens, you won't have those same effects. Same thing as your voice. If you're taking it during your teens, it kind of stops your boy puberty, I guess. And you won't get like that deep, raspy voice. You won't get the deepness of like what a guy has. So those are benefits of doing it before puberty. Yeah. So the next few things I started to notice was hair on my body was starting to change. Like, black hairs were turning blonde, and hair on my body was thinning out. Now, I never really had like a lot of like body hair, but whatever I did have was starting to kind of disappear. Hair on my arms was starting to thin out just a little bit, not totally. And hair in other areas I just noticed was like turning blonde, and it was kind of strange. So muscle mass as well started to kind of fade. My face started to kind of thin out a little bit, which was kind of strange. And these effects took over the course of like the next like 6 months or so. So now all these effects are going to be based off of also your genetics, unfortunately. So if your genetics are, like I hate to use the word, like a Barbie doll figure, and if that runs in your family, chances are you'll probably have some pretty good effects, from what I've noticed. If you, breast growth will be, again, based off of genetics, mostly. You're going to be pretty much based off of your siblings and your mother. You'll be like 1 size to 2 sizes smaller than what they are. It all changes. Everything is based off of, everyone's experience will be different. So don't, it's not the gospel. It's just everyone's going to experience different things and different growth rates. Another thing that was pretty interesting to notice was the changes of emotion. And the emotion was, I would get really sensitive to things, almost like mood swings, because your body was now, the hormones were all out of whack, and the estrogen was all of a sudden starting to make me like watch a movie, and I would like something sad would happen and I would want to cry. I would start tearing up, and I'm getting choked up watching like these movies that I was never super emotional about. So those were weird things. You definitely get very emotional about certain things. And since you are going through a second puberty, you're definitely going to have some mood swings. Fat distribution. This one takes about a year or so. I've been on hormones for about 6 years, and I have noticed some, but again, it was my genetics, unfortunately. I did not notice a lot of the good effects that I wanted. So what I had to do was, some of it is going to the gym and helping to work those areas that I wanted more effects, like hips, thighs, your butt. So I would have to kind of work towards those. Eating right is also a big help. If you eat like a lot of junk food like I do, the effects weren't that great for me, because all I did was eat a lot of junk food, and I never exercised at first, and, you know, it is what it is now at this point. So I'm working on it now. I'm trying to do healthier. I'm eating healthier. I'm working out. I'm doing these things that I should have done years ago. Yeah, there's no right or wrong. There's no easy way to navigate this. It just, let it happen. Let your body just go with the flow. Don't try to force things, and just be natural. Be yourself. Just, things will happen. Unfortunately, it's not overnight like what we want, but they will happen, and it just takes a little bit of time. You just have to be a little patient, and I know that's easier said than done. I went through it. I'm still living it every single day, so you're not alone. All right, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and please let me know if there's anything that I can do for you, any questions. You got to leave a comment, otherwise I don't know. I don't know how to answer. Let me know what you need. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them as fast as I can. Also, let me know if there's something else that you would like to see. I'm kind of doing all the videos in like an order of how they happened in my life, but I can skip around a little bit. It doesn't matter. It's just, I figure this was probably just an easier way of doing it, was just doing like a timeline. So don't forget, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know how you feel, and I will see you guys in the next one.